and welcome people to my program today, and it is a real privilege and honor to have our studio guest in the studio today, and we have Mumtaz Khan from the world famous Mumtaz Restaurant in Bradford. And I'd just like to swiftly move over to our guest and welcome him to the studios. And Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Mumtaz Khan.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much for calling me.
Thank you so much for coming. What I'd really like to start the ball rolling with is with the amount of awards that, the world famous Mumtaz Restaurant has won, like, the Hungry House, the Curry Awards in 2011, the Manufacturing Awards. Can we just talk a little bit about what you feel has contributed towards your success in winning so many awards?
Well, I think it's the concentration at what I do and how we do it. You have to be very honest with yourself and your customers because that's the ethic of my business. we deliver what we say we're going to deliver, and keep the quality right. We don't dilute. We don't water down our food. We don't use cheap spices or cheap products. So that brings out the quality, and obviously the appreciation of the quality is from my customers. But I've got all these accolades and awards, many of them, you just mentioned few, but my biggest accolade and the compliment that I get is when our elderly women come to our restaurant, and they have the food because they cook the food day in, day out at home. That's they've been doing that. So when they come and have food at Mumtaz, and then the old motherly figure comes to me and say, "Mumtaz beta, tap on my shoulder, your food was very good." That is the biggest compliment that I can get and I can hope for. You get people come in and they appreciate the food and the quality, and then I think that's part of the business. You have to sort of concentrate what you're doing and then do it good.
The curry industry is actually worth in the region of like 3.5 or 6 billion pounds in this country, with around and equally about 2.5 million customers that have curries each week. So, Mr. Mumtaz, you've had some real celebrities attend, your restaurant, and one of them being Her Royal Majesty the Queen. So, how did that come about?
First of all, I think that the restaurant industry in these times is very difficult because people don't have the spending power. People, the raw material has gone sky high. And the restaurants are charging still the old prices, and they're not making as much profit. But we'll come to that when you want to ask me anything like that. But what I'm saying is, Her Majesty, that was one of the biggest achievement for Mumtaz, because it was the first Asian, Indian, or Pakistani, whatever you want to call it, the first Indian or Pakistani food ever. She's never had it before. So it was our honor to have her in Mumtaz, and it was chosen by Her Majesty because we have been catering for all the royalties, but we could never before advertise or mention it that we've catered for such a royalty. But I think when Her Majesty chose, and then we had an opportunity to ask her if we can use her name that we have, and then she kindly agreed, and then.
I mean, that is really, really fab that you actually put Kashmiri foods on the world map. And so what was security like on that day?
Well, security was very tight because I had known this visit 2 months prior to her visit to our restaurant. But me and my other 2 brothers knew this, but we couldn't tell our family.
Right.
My wife did not know, my children did not know, and you know how difficult it is to sort of something is happening, but you can't
something
talk.
Something as exciting as Her Royal Majesty.
Exactly. So we could not say to anyone. Just I think about a day before, we were told that yes, I can tell my family now. So, security was quite tight, yes.
You know, you've had also so many Bollywood celebrities attend, such as Jackie Shroff and Shilpa Shetty, and you've had some really good diners there. What do they all say about your restaurant? What attracts them in the first place, do you feel?
I think Mumtaz is not just a restaurant, it's a brand. And, and Mumtaz is respected for the quality of the food that we give. And I mean, these celebrities, Bollywood stars and Lollywood stars and whatever, I mean, we've had so many come in. And because they know, I think the word goes around in the industry, because when somebody comes in, we don't make fuss. We don't create fuss. We don't have, we don't allow pictures to be taken with me or, with my family or friends. No. They come in and they have the food in privacy, just like anybody else comes in, and we don't really, and the feedback that we get, of course, is one of the best the food they've ever had, and the experience.
What I think our viewers would really like to know is how you actually started off to build, such a household brand. You can't really live in the UK or anywhere else for that matter and not know Mumtaz Restaurant, in Bradford. So would you just like to talk about how you originally started and how the Mumtaz brand came to be such a household name?
You see, we came to England in 1972 with my mother. My father had been already in England before, and there was no trend of the Asian families coming in. I think it all started late 60s. So in 1972 when we came, I was about 11 years old. And then, of course, I grew up. And Mumtaz, I used to work in a textile mill on the same road, on Great Orchard Road, because I went to school. I didn't study any further because I was the breadwinner in the family. I was the eldest son in the family. So basically, I didn't have the opportunity to go to college or university, because however, I was the brightest child in the family, but being the eldest in the family sometimes carries that kind of a burden that you are a breadwinner in the family. So I started working in a textile mill, evening shifts. I'm telling you how it all came about.
Yes.
One day I was walking in the morning, walking down, I used to live down the road as well. So I was walking back home after I finished my night shift in the factory. I looked at this shop. There was a small shop. It was it was locked up, and it had a small handwritten sign for sale. But I used to see this shop every day when I woke up to the factory. It was a small sweet shop, like a confectionery shop. And I went home and I said to my mother, I said, I've just seen a little shop for sale. Do you think we should open a takeaway? She said, but who's going to cook for you? I said, you will.
Okay.
So I remember that my mother came up with me to have a look at the shop. It was a tiny shop, 4 meter by 3 meter. And in fact, if anybody knows Mumtaz and they have been to Mumtaz in Bradford or Leeds, the entrance that you walk into Mumtaz now, that is the exact size of that is the shop that my mother first opened, 4 meter by 3 meter shop. So when my mother had a look at the shop, and I said, look, I want to buy this and I want to sort of do a takeaway. But I didn't want to do a takeaway like any other anglicized takeaway or a Europeanized takeaway, because at that time people were catering for the European people. Nobody was catering for the Asian people, you see. And so I remember that guy was asking, the shop was 2,500 he asked for. And then I asked my dad, and I said, my dad actually knew this man, and he went and he said, look, my son wants to open a shop, a takeaway. And
was this freehold at 2000?
It was a freehold. Okay. And kindly that man said, if it's your son who's buying this shop, I'm asking for 2,500. I'll sell it for 1,500 pounds.
My goodness, you can't. That's not even a deposit, you know.
So
on
he
a place
sold the
these days.
shop to me for 1,500 pounds, and he looked at me as like his own son. He said, "Look, just 1,500 pounds." And you know what? I only had 1,500 pounds saving at that time, right? And we paid the money, got the shop. Now I had no money to do the shop, right? So I had to go and borrow some money from bank. I remember I borrowed another 1,500 pounds from the bank. When I'd done all that, I realized that I have no planning permission to do a takeaway. Because it was kind of, you know, I never knew that I had to get a planning permission. So there was a fish and chip shop next door to me. And this guy, very nice guy, but somehow he didn't like the smell of curries, you know, because he was one of those, you know, things. He started complaining. So the council eventually gave me the planning permission. But then I had no chef.
Okay.
So my mother started cooking in the cellar. Right. She used to make me samosas, kebabs, and I would carry it to the shop in the morning, sell everything all day long. Then from there, I used to walk up to the factory, work all night in the factory, leave the factory at about 10 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then come home, go to sleep, and my mother woke me up every day. I did that for 8 months. I was working in the factory, I was working daytime in the shop, because I didn't want to give up my job, because what if the takeaway didn't work? I would lose the wage that I'm getting, so we'll have no money at home. So I kept on doing that for 8 months at least, and this is how it started. But I'll tell you something. Many a times people have called me for talks and, you know, give lecture, and a lot of people have asked me, what kind of plan did you have to have a global brand and you know, supplying to so many countries, and how did you do it? You know, what business plan did you follow? And I often say this, that I had no business plan. I still have no business plan. I never make any business plan, right? You know, when you have a shop which is 4 meter by 3 meter, right? What vision can you have? What business plan can you have? You can't sort of say, well, I've got this takeaway today, and I'm going to be a multi-million pound business in so many years. You're small. You just want to bring food at home on the table for the family. You don't have a vision. I didn't have a vision, you know, what I'm going to do. But I tell them, I said, I only know one thing that happened to me in my life, and that changed everything, you know, and it came into, you know, became a very successful business. And I share a story with them. You know, my mother, when she used to make all these samosas and everything, eventually I left the textile mill because I could make enough money, I could make my wage.
So did you receive any help through business support agencies?
No.
Were they even around then?
Not even until now. I've never had any money from any other business or agencies or government funding. No, I've never done that. But you see, like, so I was saying to you that my mother, I said to her, I said, look, I've left the shop, the textile mill. I want to help, because she was standing in the cellar all night, you know, making kebabs and samosas, and I was like kind of feeling very sorry for my mother. I said, well, she's doing all this for us, you know. And I said, why don't you tell me how to make samosas? And I can do it in the shop, you know, because I can help you a little bit. So she told me how to fold the samosas. You know, these triangle samosas that you see nowadays everywhere, I'm the one who started these samosas, triangle samosas, at that time in 1978, 79, okay? Now, she made some roti and masala, and she gave it to me and said, okay, this is how you fold it. And this was the first time I was going to do it in my shop, right? I carried it to the shop. But I didn't realize that my mother afterwards, she actually followed me. Just see how Mumtaz is doing, because he was excited that my son is now making samosas first time. Let's see if he's doing it okay. There was a small window behind my kitchen, a tiny kitchen, but there was a small window. And she was looking through that window, but I didn't know. So I was making samosas. I came to a stage where I had 2 rotis left, but the filling was only for 1 samosa. Right? So what did I do? I opened few samosas up. I took some masala out. I made the last samosa, put it in the tray, and very happy, because I know samosa at that time was 12p or something like that. So I said, okay, I've made 12p extra. After a little while, my mother walked through the door, and I've never seen my mother so stressed out, so upset in my life. And I was the most loved one. She loved me, and she never never called me by name. But that day when she came and she says, Mumtaz, I said, yes, mom, haan beji, in my Punjabi. And she said, where's the keys for the shop? I said, in my jacket. So she said, let's go home. Let's close the shop and let's go home. And I said, why go home? And she was very angry, stressed out. Her face color changed. And I said, well, why do you want to go home? She said, no, close the shop and let's go home. I said, come on. I remember it was 20 minutes past 1. I said, look, people are coming in, and it's a lunchtime, and customers will come in, and I can't go home. What's the problem? She said, I'm telling you, let's go home, close the shop, and let's go home. And I thought, my mother and father, they probably had a fight at home.
Okay.
Right? So I came a little bit angry, and I said, look, it was first time I raised my voice to my mother. I said, why are you bringing the domestic issues into the shop? Right? Go home, I'll come back in the evening, and we'll sort it out and see what's happened. She said, look, nothing has happened at home, but I've seen what you've done. You have actually cheated. I want you to close the shop now, go home, because son, listen, this is not going to last for too long, because you've already started cheating.
Right.
And the masala there that you have pinched from the other samosas, you're going to charge them the full price. I could do that at home, right? But you have cheated, and I want you to close the shop now and go home, because if you grow up later on in your life, and if you have to close, if you do this, it's going to be a big disaster for you. So she said, and that is the day that the whole thing changed for me. Up to now, until today, I have never knowingly cheated with my customer. Whatever I said, I delivered. And I think that is the success of my business. I don't see any other reason. I have never had a business plan, as such, that I want to be doing this and I will be doing that. And I've always prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whenever you throw an opportunity at me, give me wisdom to take it. Because I believe that the opportunities are thrown at you every day in your life. And sometimes, things come in and you don't really think about it, and somebody else will pick it up and they will do it, right? And then say, oh, I had the idea, why did I do it? So I just pray to Allah that whenever you throw an opportunity at me, just give me wisdom to take it. So
but also with your non-alcohol policy, you had a non-alcohol policy back when all the restaurants allowed alcohol. So what determined I think we've got a caller online, so let's take the question. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Yeah, I'm Kadir Sheikh calling from Germany.
Thank you for your call.
I've been in Bradford in this restaurant. I think this guy is a pride for Pakistan. Well, he set such a standard that it has been an honor for me being there, and I enjoyed his hospitality as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing, your news. And yes, we do agree with you. This is the world famous Mumtaz Restaurant, and it's well popular for its cuisine. Thank you so much.
I do thank Baijan to call me. It's so nice of them to call me like this. You see, that's an encouragement. That's what makes me keep going.
So can I just come back to the question
the
as well,
alcohol,
which was the alcohol
the
question.
alcohol.
So what was your decision not to serve alcohol when all the other restaurants around you were serving alcohol around that time?
It's not my decision. It's decision by God that I'm not supposed to do this. So I won't do it. We don't even allow it. Nobody can bring in the bottle of alcohol in my restaurant. If somebody, by mistake, bring in their own alcohol, we tell them to please take it out and put it in your car. So it's not the decision that I have made myself. That decision is made by God.
Okay,
right?
I'm going to have to stop you right there. We've got a break coming up. So please, people, join us after the break because I'm going to ask them some really good questions on all your behalf. So join me in a minute. Thank you. Hi and thank you people and welcome back. We're very lucky and privileged and honoured to have Mumtaz Khan from the world famous Mumtaz Restaurant in Bradford right here in our studios. And the curry industry is actually worth around £3.6 billion with about 2.5 million customers each week. So we're just asking Mumtaz Saab loads of questions around his business, and he's inspiring and motivating all our viewers today into what the curry industry is all about. So Mumtaz Saab, coming back to some of the questions that we were talking about, what actually motivates you? What keeps you going?
What keeps me going? That's a good question. I think this business is in my blood actually, and I can't do anything else but this. And the innovation in the food excites me. My brain is always working. What should I do? How it should be done, and it's the excitement of the whole thing, the running, and because it's
I
very
think we're going to have
challenging.
to stop you there. We've got a caller online. Let's take this call, please. Hello.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I started watching the program a bit late, but the gentleman is very impressive because he sounds very humble, and I presume I'd like to know more about him. Is he from Africa or is he from Pakistan? And what's nice about him is that he is humble because I hate show-off people. I presume he has a restaurant, and I'd like to know more. What else does he have apart from lots of love and caring from his mother? Thank you.
Thank you, caller. We really appreciate your question. This is a business program that DM Digital runs every single Monday. I am your host, Shaghofta Akhtar. And just keep watching and we shall surely find out, because he's involved in a lot of stuff. Which brings me on to my next question, which was about the Mumtaz baby food range. So let's talk about that. How, because I understand you also have the NHS contract to supply baby food to all the NHS hospitals in the UK. So would you like to talk about how that came about?
This is very interesting. You see, Mumtaz is the first company in the entire Muslim world or in the world to produce halal baby food. How it all came about. We hear every day that the Muslim children or the Asian children lag behind in school. They're not as clever as they ought to be. And about 10 years ago, I was reading, I think it was Guardian, I believe. Guardian, there was a report in Guardian newspaper published by the United Nations. And they were talking in particular about the Europe. Why and they were talking about the Asian children, but in particular the Muslim children, why they lag behind in the school. And the result and the founding was that the malnutrition, they suffer from anemia and malnutrition because they don't get the protein. I looked at it and I could see my daughters, you know, what happened with my daughters, because they could not get, we could not have the baby food. That you know the other children are you know having. So my wife used to sort of either give them vegetable or egg and custard, and you know buy all this dessert from the shops. And I thought, why shouldn't I do that? Because I am in this business. That sort of idea clicked. I said, I should do something for our children. I should do something for Asian. You know, why is nobody has done that before? So I invested, you know, it started, okay, I'm going to put down about £50,000 for research, and I put down £50,000. Then I went up to £150,000. It went on and went on. And I went on so far that there was no U-turn for me, and I found out it's very difficult to produce baby food. So then I invested, and we spent about £18 million in a factory in Spain. To do baby food, and all the recipes, and then you know we had the pediatrician on board, and you know one of the top pediatrician in the country on board, and we did the recipes and everything. But the problem is with the baby food, for me it's not a money making thing. I did it out of pain and love, because our children, why are they lacking behind? Why has nobody really cared about our children? You know, and when I went into the detail, and I don't want to say this, but the giants in baby food, right? Sometimes they have deliberately ignored this market, right? They could see there's a huge market, but they deliberately ignored it, right? And we started producing baby food. And now the latest research which has been done by the Leeds University, they compared all the baby food with Mumtaz baby food, all the baby food in the market. Mumtaz baby food came #1 in nutrition, in protein, and it's pure. We don't use any additives or any preservatives. But our mothers, they still need, you know, they don't really realize how important it is to have a baby when it's 4 months old, to have the protein. And the best thing about Mumtaz baby food is that we also use Zamzam to cook Mumtaz baby food. So first spoon baby food has, she's having or he's having Zamzam. Now, it is important for our mothers to know that how important it is. I mean, recently there's another research done. All the baby food, Mumtaz food that was given to babies, and they did a research on this for 2.5 years. They are super clever in school, because I am offering more protein than any other baby food in the market, right? And I'm getting really good feedback from the English market as well, because people, you see, they want good protein, good product, right? It's not just necessarily for Muslims, but the Muslim mothers need to know that they have to give. You see, there is a very interesting research. If a baby does not have protein up to, you know, from 4 months to 1 year, the brain damage is irreparable. You cannot repair that damage. Baby might look very healthy, but she's suffering from anemia and the brain damage. Now, just a joke, you know, somebody said to me when we started this baby food, they said, how come nobody's ever thought about this idea? And I jokingly said, I said, because we are mentally behind, because we don't have that kind of, you know, capacity of thinking. So this was the venture out of pain and love. I didn't do it for money, right? But I'm finding it very difficult for our Asian mothers to realize how important it is. You see, they will go to supermarket and they'll buy, custard, egg and custard, banana. I mean, that's not important, you know. The important is the protein. And you know, when you probably have seen it, I've seen it many times. What our mothers do, when the baby is about 6 months, right, and now she wants to eat, or he wants to eat protein, the baby, what do they do? Mother, out of love, chews the meat in her mouth and feed the child.
Okay, I have seen that.
You've seen it?
I've seen that happen.
Now, what we don't realize, the immune system of the baby and the mother is two different things, right? Now you're transferring all your bacteria from your mouth into baby's mouth. And you're doing it out of love, no doubt. But we don't realize that we're giving all the bacteria from our mouth to baby, and we think that it's gonna, baby is gonna enjoy it and baby is gonna be healthy. No, you see, the immune system is fighting the bacteria now.
Okay.
See, so our mothers need to know, right, that it is how important it is. They don't have to have Mumtaz baby food, but as long as they can get halal protein baby food, they should feed them.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody's taking notes from all the healthy recipes and discussions that we're also having as part of this program. And on my Facebook, we did advertise that Mumtaz Sahab will be coming onto our program, and some of you did put your questions up. There's one particular question that really stood out from all the ones that have been put up on my Facebook, and that was from Garib Hanif from the Shetland Islands. And his question was that you've invested quite heavily at Islamabad International Airport, and the people of Azad Jammu Kashmir have been persecuted and by the Islamabad Airport authorities, by customs for some 50 years. They'd just like to know if you've had any advertising issues at Islamabad International Airport, and have you used your business powers to highlight the plight of the Azad Jammu Kashmir passengers, because the expats are a cash cow for staff there. Would you agree or disagree with this statement?
Well, I think we get these kind of issues. You come to Islamabad and I go sometimes to Pakistan, and they don't know who I am, but the bribing and that's very unfortunate. Sort of this is kind of it's become a culture now. Yes, I've invested in the airport, but I have nothing to do with the airport authority. I have nothing to do with the customs and excise. I have nothing to do with the other departments. But I know it happens. But I think the government need to look at it. As an individual, I can't do much. But it happens to me sometimes as well. They will open my suitcase and they will give us some money. But that's unfortunate, isn't it? It happens not only in Pakistan, it happens other Asian countries as well I've been to. So Pakistan is not the only country that these things happen. It happens in India, it happens in many other Asian countries that I've been to. So as long as you're clear and you are sort of straight, nothing, you should be able to be all right.
Okay, thank you so much for taking the question from one of our Facebook viewers. And another question that got put up by Iqtidar Ali Kanbari, sorry if I didn't say that properly, from Gilgit, Baltistan in Pakistan. And what they'd like to know is, what steps should others take if they want to introduce from Pakistan into the international food market? What are your advice for them?
That is very difficult. The reason being is that Pakistani government has done nothing. I've been to Pakistan and I've spoken to authorities. You see, they don't have the infrastructure in place. You will not be able to produce meat or chicken in Pakistan and send it to Europe because you don't sort of meet the criteria that is applied. You are not BRC approved, you don't follow HACCP, you don't, because, you can do other products, but not the food, because, you can't import food from like meat or chicken or whatever from Pakistan.
I mean, coming back to the UK, a lot of our young people are very disillusioned with the opportunities right here in this country. Do you have a message for our young people, today, and what they should do to find opportunities, especially some of our graduates that are really, really struggling at a time, like this?
I gave a speech in one of the university, and I said to the students, I said, look, my advice to you would be that when you finish the uni, don't go out and look for jobs, right? You should create jobs, right? Problem that I'm not academic, so I'm talking about as a businessman that who's worked hard. We are graduating to find the jobs, and they're very difficult nowadays, right? You'll be very lucky to get a job, and I'm not it's difficult. But on the other hand, right, we have youngsters who want to be very rich, very quick, but they don't realize that everything is a start. Every major business, big business, had a small start.
Thank you so much. This draws a very quick close to our program today. It's always very quick on this program. So thank you for joining us, and please do watch my program next week when we'll have the Royal Bank of Scotland, Chris Sullivan, appearing on this show. So thank you for watching.